Hey guys, you're watching CANRUSH. I'm John, and this is Eva.
Hi.
This is our channel if it's your first time here, and we have two guests today, Uliana and Kasim.
Yeah.
They're all Russian citizens. I'm from Canada, but we're in Russia at the moment, and I thought that it would be interesting to take this opportunity to ask some questions to Russians that may be interesting to you guys.
And both of them are YouTubers. We should.
Yes, yeah, we should say that. Yeah, what are your channels about? Uliana, what's your channel about?
I think my channel is mostly about psychology, self-development, both books.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do traveling vlogs. I have a lot of different topics on my channel. I can't mention anything specific right now.
Cool. So a big mix.
Yeah.
Okay, my channel about traveling, about my lifestyle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. YouTube is actually a pretty big deal in Russia because I'm sure that some of you don't even realize that there's over 100 channels with over 1 million subscribers in Russian. So it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a whole world out there, and we just want to give you a glimpse into that world. So just a bunch of random questions. So the first one is, how have you seen Russia change in your lifetime? Well, maybe how old are you guys?
Sorry, we should mention also that we, like all of us, we are so nervous now because we don't get used to speak English.
Yeah, so
It's unusual for me. It's like the first video for me in English, actually.
I think this is the first time I've ever heard you speak English.
Okay.
So yeah, it's because we've been together for several hours today, and I speak Russian well, so we always speak Russian.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to just speak in English because everybody can speak English. Some of you are just a little bit shy.
You won't take us from our comfort zone.
Yeah, just drag you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So
Right.
maybe we'll start by saying how old everybody is.
Oh, okay.
Just because I'm saying, how has Russia changed in your lifetime?
Mhm.
So you were born in 1989.
Yeah,
I know, because you're my wife.
Yeah, I was born in the USSR in 1989.
Yes.
So in all of my documents and passports, you can see the place of birth is USSR.
And Kasim was also born in the Soviet Union, right?
Yeah, but I'm 27.
Okay, so 1991.
Yeah.
Right? And
So I'm the only one from Russia here, right? I was born in 1994.
94. Cool. So since then, I mean, what you remember, what comes to mind? What has changed or what is changing in Russia?
Everything. Like
Everything.
people, the
cities.
government.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try, I don't know, is there any specific, just random examples that come to mind? How are people changing? I don't know, maybe that's a hard question.
I don't know. The first thing which comes to mind is how people dress themselves.
Mhm.
Themselves.
You can just say how people dress, sure.
How people dress. I
Mhm.
remember more high heel shoes
Yeah.
in a previous time on women.
Yes, not men.
Yeah. And more I don't know, some shiny stones. I don't know, in your hair, straza. I don't know how to say it in English.
Okay.
Or jewelry or exotic makeup. I don't know that exotic is the right word, but just more I don't know.
Bold or something
Like a peacock,
that?
you know?
Okay, like a peacock, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that it have changed a lot. That people, they start to dress more casually, more something which what don't make you more beautiful, but what make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I think there are
Yeah.
more similarities now between people in Russia and people in Europe, for example,
Almost no difference. Yeah.
clothes-wise.
Uh-huh.
And people more open now.
Okay.
We can speak about everything.
Okay, to talk about different topics?
about the government, about sex, for example, because before people didn't do it.
Yeah, there's this phrase
Yeah.
that there was no sex in Soviet
Yeah.
Union.
Yeah, just because people didn't talk about it. Yeah, that's interesting.
But we also should mention that it's more about Moscow, or St.
Yeah.
Petersburg.
Yeah.
About
Definitely.
I don't know about other part of Russia, only about Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that in Russia, Moscow is considered the center of Russia, although it's way to the west. And a lot of people from outside of Moscow and St. Petersburg, because they're the two biggest cities, they sort of consider them as other countries. You don't understand us because you live in your big city. And our life is different and way out there in Siberia or whatever.
I think that Moscow did change drastically, even in the last 5 or 6 years since I first moved here. So
Yeah, and actually, a lot of people in Russia they say like Moscow is not Russia.
Right.
It's like Moscow. It's like other
Different
country.
Like if Russians watch this and they see Muscovites telling other people what Russia is like, they will say, "You don't know what Russia's
Yeah.
like. You live in
Yeah.
Moscow."
It's
it's
like, actually
true.
it's like New York.
Okay.
It's different. Like it's not like
Yeah.
like I don't know, like California or something. It's like New York.
Yeah. When you talk about life in New York, it's specifically about New York. You
Yeah.
can't generalize about the whole country, right? So yeah, it's the same with Moscow. Yeah. One thing that I've noticed, like this is maybe not what I had in mind when I thought of the question, but like recently you said like in the last 5 years Moscow has changed. I noticed that in the last 5 years, like it seems like business is really changing in Moscow in terms of like advertising and marketing. Like they're really getting better.
Yeah.
Like they used to just like suck at sales and stuff. Like a lot of times you would see like they'd have like small packages and big packages, and it would be cheaper to buy more small packages than one big one. And now they've like fixed that, and like there's like really good sales and just like reaching out all these like
Free
promo
stuff.
codes and stuff like that. Yeah, I find that's gotten a lot better. There really is like a lot more competition now, which is nice to see, or at least the illusion of competition.
Yeah.
A lot of the companies are like two companies competing, but they're owned by the same company. But at least like it's good for the consumer that it's there. It seems like you're getting a good deal.
Definitely.
And maybe now in Moscow we have a lot of restaurants, a lot of tasty food. I love to eat actually. Yeah, and a lot of like cozy coffee shops or something like this. Yeah, like really a lot.
Yeah. That's true. And like
we didn't have it before. Like when we was maybe 10 years old, we didn't have it. Like only maybe McDonald's. And nothing more.
Yeah.
right.
And pizza maybe.
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
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 But
It's,
now they have everything, like
Yeah.
everything, like in the United States, in maybe like in Canada, in Europe.
yeah, almost everything.
Yeah.
But more and more, like constantly, like more restaurants are opening and stuff. Like I remember, I think it was like in 2000, maybe 15 or no 13. I was in Moscow and I heard there was a Mexican place, so we went there and it was closed. I don't think there was any more Mexican places, but now there is. And like there's a really popular food delivery service here, and like one of the most popular restaurants is a Mexican restaurant. So like it's spreading more. And like we just had sushi for lunch, and it's like sushi is super popular here, and pizza is really popular. So yeah, those things are like the globalization is really hitting Russia for sure.
And
Yeah.
Chinese food, actually,
Yeah,
Vietnamese food.
Yeah, like there within like 500 meters of our apartment, there's probably like 4 Chinese restaurants.
Yeah, and you also have a Vietnamese place not far from.
So yeah, I didn't even know
Metro
that.
station.
There's a lot.
We do
Yeah,
have on the market.
yeah.
Britislavska market.
Yeah.
Vietnamese. Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, Vietnamese, and there's lots.
And also one more at the mall you have.
What's there?
Nearby the station.
The metro
Yeah.
station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a boom.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's a Vietnamese
Yeah.
restaurant.
Oh, cool. I
Like
didn't know
a
that.
small
Yeah.
fast food place.
Oh,
Well, Yana spent some time in Vietnam, like over a year, right?
No, about 12 months.
That's okay. A year.
Almost a year. Yeah.
No, not a year. 12 months. Sure. Not over a year, but 12 months.
365 days.
365 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So Liana has this place in her heart for Vietnam and Vietnamese food, right?
For sure.
All right. So foreigners hear a lot about Russia, and a lot of it is stereotypes. But what is something that you think that about life in Russia that would surprise foreigners if you tell them now?
Russia is a very big country.
Yes.
And every like region, can you say region in
Yeah.
our country like different? We have like Muslims region in our country. We have like can I say
Buddhist region.
Buddhist
yeah,
region. Like the Russia is very different, like everywhere, and we all
Very
like
diverse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the stereotypes people have, they're usually about like Moscow or St. Petersburg, like that kind of Russia.
or only about like Russian people. Russian, I mean like Russian ethnic group.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I'm from Russia. I'm like Russian, but I'm
You're not ethnically Russian.
Yeah, ethnically Russian.
Yeah.
I'm Azerbaijani. Like my mom and dad, they speak Azerbaijani like every day with me. They cook Azerbaijani food, but I'm still Russian.
Yeah. Cool.
And we are
No
different.
jokes.
We have a lot of people like from from Korea here actually, like our friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
There's a
Korean.
famous YouTuber, yeah,
Yeah.
also who's famous in Russia, also Korean, and not like a new immigrant, like fifth generation or something,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
speak like in Russian in their family.
yeah. So
And only Russian.
I
they
agree.
they can't speak actually Korean. Only
Right,
Russian.
right, yeah. Yeah, I agree that I think that definitely it surprised me to be honest, and I think it even surprises some Russians when they leave Moscow that
Yeah.
wow, like you come to another republic of Russia and they have signs in the local language and in Russian,
Yeah.
and you can see mosques and you can hear like the call to prayer and stuff like that, and
And food is very different.
yeah, and
Yeah.
different food, yeah,
And
yeah,
tradition and the way how people dress.
cool.
But
It's
all
very
stereotypes only about Russian people, Russian ethnic.
Yeah, ethnically
yeah.
Russian people.
Ethnically, yeah,
Mhm.
Russian people, not about because
Russia
you know
in
in Russia we have like two words, Россиянин. It means like people from Russia. If you have Russian passport, for
A
example,
Russian
you,
citizen,
if
right?
you
Yeah.
will, как сказать, в будущем, если ты будешь иметь, if you
If
will,
if I become a Russian citizen,
yeah, like you will be Russian.
yeah,
like me.
Россиянин, like
And
Russian
yeah.
citizen.
Yeah.
But
And we have
Not
Русский.
Rus-
It means only like your ethnic
Ethnically
group.
Russian,
Ethnically,
yeah.
Russian. It's different.
yeah, that's important for sure. Anything else that you think would surprise foreigners?
I have one specific thought in my mind just about police that it may surprise other people from other countries that you can walk in Moscow, I don't know, in the park, or you can be in the subway, and police officer can come to you and he can ask your documents
Yeah.
to check your visas or registration. We still have this registration thing in our passport that each Russian citizen has a stamp in his passport.
I
Which-
don't have one for over half a year already.
But you're supposed to have one.
yeah.
Yeah, like where it says where are you living in the right moment, and it's very important stamp. You kind of need to show it almost
Yep.
everywhere. And
Yeah, one. Sorry, maybe just pause you for a
Mhm.
second. That you're not talking about a passport, the passport that you're thinking of, because in
Yeah.
Russia there's something like they call an internal passport. So every citizen from the age of 14, right, has a passport that they use just like a national ID, and it has a stamp. It says if you're married, and it says where you live,
Yeah,
and
about
if you're
kids.
if you have
About
children,
Yeah, children.
yeah,
And this
and,
stamp
and you
thing,
need to have it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah,
stamp
you
thing
need.
is actually kind of strange because you can do a lot of things without it. For example, I just got 2 new bank cards, like debit cards,
Uh-huh.
not the credit ones, from the bank, and they didn't need the stamp at
Uh-huh.
all because they said that's her deal. We don't really care.
Mhm.
But at the same time, if I
Like if police
yeah,
stop,
if
Yeah.
for some reason the policeman decides to check my passport and my registration stamp, and I will have no stamp in my passport.
You might have problems.
Yeah, definitely.
Or they
But-
even can take you to the police office or
Yes,
police.
yes, to confirm my
Yeah.
identity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it
And
might be strange
if
for other
you
people.
don't have like the stamp,
Mhm.
you can pay
You
to
can't pay.
police like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so there's corruption. So you could pay them, so they would let you go.
It's like it's usually actually in Russia. It's okay.
It's common, yeah.
Some people do it, and we know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not rare to just
Yeah, it's a shame
if
to
you have a
say.
problem with your passport, for example, or you broke the law when you're driving. It's becoming a little bit less, but still quite widespread. You can put some money in there, and then they will just say, "Have a good day."
Yeah.
Um,
And you can
They won't even look at what your problem is. They will just let you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, that's so
And-
that's something that might surprise you.
Yeah, and you can tell it about this situation to your friends, to your parents, and
Mhm.
it's okay.
It's common
for,
every day. Yeah.
yeah, for
Comedians
everybody.
talk about it like it's very common, and there are a lot more police than you might expect. Like when you walk into the metro, like the subway, there's always police at every station, at least like 5 or 6 at least, and you see them
Some
everywhere.
people even call this safety seizure. Like we're trying to show off that we're a safe country, but we're not actually. Like at some point,
Yeah.
that's the reason why we have so many police. And there's like security frames at the airports,
Yeah.
railway stations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of them.
They're everywhere.
I remembered another thing about food that people in Russia, it's a big generalization, but still, we love mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise, yes.
Mayonnaise.
Hate
So
it.
many
You hate it?
salads.
Yeah.
There are many salads with mayonnaise, and I feel that I know a lot about mayonnaise, but recently I saw one of my best friend. He was eating his breakfast. He made an omelette, and he put like
A whole layer of
Oh,
mayonnaise
layer
on
of
top.
mayo on the omelet, and it's like first time it was the first time I saw.
That's
Yeah,
just
I never saw that.
And I was like, how you can do this? How you can eat this? And he was like, it's totally normal. So omelette with mayo on top.
I didn't have any mayonnaise when I was a child because I'm not like ethnically Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Azerbaijani people don't like mayonnaise.
So they probably laugh at
Sometimes,
Russians for eating
yeah.
so much mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Just like we do.
If you want to eat mayonnaise, your like mom can say you like, are you Russian? What are you doing? You like Russian? Yeah.
What's your problem?
Yeah. What's your problem?
Yeah. Sure.
It's funny.
Awesome. What would you warn a foreign friend about that's planning to come to Russia? It might be similar to the previous question, but maybe some other ideas will come to mind.
Or,
I will probably mention some not so safe neighborhoods,
Okay.
if there were some at the city where I'm living currently.
That reminds me of that comedian. You see that one? It's like, you think this scary neighborhood? Or something like that. You seen that?
No.
I'll have to show it to you after.
Yeah, okay.
You think this bad neighborhood? Russians are the scariest white people.
That would probably be the first thing.
Neighborhood like where in Moscow?
Yeah, like I wouldn't probably recommend to go to Yuzhная Butova or
No.
wherever.
Yeah,
but
I
like
think
No,
that-
Yuzhny Budov is very.
But that's stereotypically bad neighborhood for me, and I'm not from Moscow.
But actually, I think we don't have it like
Yeah.
in New York, for example.
Yeah.
You mean there's
Yeah.
not dangerous neighborhoods?
Yeah, like everywhere in
Dangerous
Moscow.
everywhere.
No, everywhere is okay actually in Moscow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think.
I would probably lean towards that. Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, there is some crime, especially, there's a lot of alcoholism in Russia, so
Oh yeah.
you don't want to deal with drunk people. Like, most crime, I feel like,
Yeah.
is drunk people. Or, like, if you have some violence, it's usually, like, alcohol is involved, so avoid drunk people. But for the most part, yeah, I wouldn't worry so much about safety in Russia. Worry about pickpockets, so, like, your your wallet and passport and stuff, but...
Yeah, about wallet, by the way, I would probably recommend to carry some cash, like just in case, because there are still some places or like small stores where you won't be
yeah.
able to use your credit card,
Yeah, that's a good warning,
like
yeah.
to buy water or something like this.
Yeah, but not a lot actually.
Yeah, nowadays,
Yeah,
like...
not like in Europe, because in Europe, a lot of places they don't have any how to say it, machine. Yeah. I don't know how
You mean
to
they
say
don't
it.
have... Oh, they don't accept cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's switched a lot now. Like, I remember when I was here in 2007, as the first time I was in Russia, they said, like, don't count on using your cards anywhere. We were in a smaller city too. But now I
Apple
never
Pay,
use cash.
Google
Everywhere,
Pay,
Apple
I never
Pay.
use cash.
We have Apple Pay like in the metro.
Yeah.
Like everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, in Moscow.
Last week we were eating at a restaurant and there was a really nice waiter, and we wanted to give him some.
Give them a tip.
Yeah, exactly. But we didn't have cash.
Yeah, I
And we
don't
were
have
like
cash like
dying.
never.
Because we wanted to do this, but we had no cash like at all, and no ATMs
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
area.
I always just pay with my phone, always.
me
too.
Ding, ding. That's, yeah.
But you can.
But sometimes you do need it, so it's a good warning.
You can do it like in the United States, actually, in New York.
You can't?
Because- yeah, you can't. In Europe too. Sometimes they accept. How to say
Accept?
this? Accept only from 10 euro.
Oh,
In,
yes.
in Italy, in Spain,
It's
like,
not
I don't think I've ever seen that in Russia, actually. I know that happens because they pay a fee for every
Yeah.
transaction.
Yeah.
But here, I've never seen
I
that.
paid like what was it? I don't remember what I was buying, but I paid like 20 rubles with my card.
Yeah. Like
So,
recently, I
yeah.
bought a bunch of things, and I said, "Can I have a bag?" And they said, "Yeah, it'll be on a separate check." So I paid again like 10 cents with my card, with my
Yeah.
phone, and that was it. So
yeah. And we have like I just want to say about Apple Pay, like Apple Pay everywhere here in Russia, in Moscow, not about. I'm speaking only about Moscow. We have
Right.
Apple Pay everywhere.
yeah, I use Google Pay.
Google Pay,
everywhere.
yeah, Samsung Pay.
Yeah, everywhere, no problem.
And
Any
I
other
should
warnings?
say that you shouldn't try to repeat, like to drink
To
more.
outdrink a Russian, like to drink more than a Russian.
Yeah, because it's probably not a good idea. You won't do it.
Yeah, Russians
Uh,
like to drink. I mean, this is a big generalization, but
Yeah.
a lot of people drink in Russia, and there's this thing
Competition.
that they get competitive, and especially with foreigners, they like to show
Yeah,
they like to
show
get
off.
foreigners drunk to like laugh at them that they weren't
Yeah.
able to drink as much as Russians. I never experienced that, but
But you can see it sometimes.
if I did drink with the Russians, I'm sure I
But
would.
we are from Russia and we don't like drink. Just sometimes.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
good
Me
point.
sometimes you don't drink. Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
like it.
but still,
Me
even
too.
even in our home on the Christmas, on the New Year's Eve, we had our Russian friends and our Norwegian friends.
Yeah, Norwegian and French friend.
Yeah, and French friend, and our Russian friend, he was drinking with a Norwegian friend, and they, it was kind of very competitive, you know. They drank one bottle of vodka.
Oh, it's
For
okay.
two.
It's not a lot for our country. Only one bottle from vodka. It's for my father and his friend. It's okay. Just only one bottle.
Yeah.
And also we should say about tea that Russian people, they like to drink hot tea,
Yeah.
and it might be weird for foreigners because I mean.
And a lot of tea, yeah. It depends on the family, but like some families, and generally in Russia, they drink a lot of tea. And you might, if you stay with a Russian family, you're probably going to drink tea multiple times a day. And that definitely takes some getting used to for me.
Yeah.
Next question is a recent survey conducted by the Levada Center stated that 41% of young people aged 18 to 24 and 24% of those 25 to 39 would like to emigrate from Russia. Is this true among your friends?
About our friends, yeah.
So, like, from like, I don't know, 30 to 40%?
We're not like ordinary Russian people.
Sure.
Because we are like travel a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, all our friends just want to move some.
Yeah.
So even more than 40% probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but it's only our friends.
If for some reason you decide to conduct a similar research, like based on our group, there would be like 90% possibility that someone will move from Russia at some point.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
First of all, we don't have like regular Russian jobs because we're all bloggers or freelancers of some sort. So we don't actually need to live in Russia to work and earn money.
Yeah,
we can move like tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's easy for us.
Yeah.
And your job won't change at all.
Definitely. We would probably need to earn more to pay more for like rent somewhere else, but at the same time, it would definitely will be easier for us to move. So I think
point.
there are definitely a lot of people who want to immigrate to leave Russia, but at the same time, there are not a lot of people who actually have real opportunities to move.
And money,
can
and
afford
they can
this.
speak English or other language.
So people like there are a lot of people who want to immigrate, but there are much less people who are actually doing something to immigrate.
They will
even though there are
be.
a lot of different ways, like even Canada, with the special like immigration part of the website, like Canada.ca or wherever it is called. There are different ways to like move to Maritimes or some other provinces that don't really have a lot of people, but they need more people, more like working hands or whatever. So there are a lot of possibilities to immigrate. And you actually don't really need a lot of money. For example, like I was watching a master degree at St. John's University. And
is it Canada?
In New Brunswick, I think, or in,
no,
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland,
Newfoundland.
Labrador, And the master degree there was like cheaper than mine currently here at Moscow State University. Like 2 years, 400 rubles or something like this. Of course, you need to add like more money if you're renting a place or whatever, but it's still cheaper, and you can actually move to Canada for 2 years and then become a real resident, stay and work there.
Yeah, but for some people it's really hard because we have like friends here, our parents here, and it's hard like.
And a lot of people in Russia, like not people like young people like us, for example, but a lot of people, they started their families very young, so they're not only thinking about themselves when they want to immigrate. Like I have a wife, I have a child, or maybe even two by the age of 25, so I need more money to immigrate, and I will have to work like through this whole situation more carefully.
Sure, yeah. So there are a lot of people that talk about it that maybe want to, but most people are not actually doing anything. Okay,
the first step towards immigration is the hardest one. You need to like start actually looking for different possibilities to immigrate, and most people don't actually go even behind this first step.
And a lot of people like Russia and they want
like,
to stay here. It's
I
okay.
Like Russia, and it's
me
a
too.
comfortable place for me to work, to live. I have my whole family here. Like
great
by
friends
Russia,
here.
we still mean Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easier for us, like even living here, to travel and to check out other places, because like traveling to Europe from Canada would probably be
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
more expensive than like flying
Yeah.
from Moscow for
It's
very cheap.
2,000,
It's very
like
cheap.
Yeah.
or for a two-way ticket. So yeah, there are a
Yeah.
lot of pros and cons
Mhm.
in this immigration situation.
Sure. I mean, you guys maybe are not the best people to ask because Liana, like I said, has lived in Vietnam, and Kasim, in Russian we say it differently. So Kasim lived for like 3 years in China, more?
5
years.
Yeah, I was living in China 5 years.
5 years in China. So you've already lived abroad, but you're back in Russia now. Do you think that you would ever leave Russia and spend most of the rest of your life outside of Russia?
Maybe.
Because I know you travel a lot anyway, but
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe. I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I can't say for sure, because
Yeah, me
like
too.
I think I'm 24 now, and I think about 2 years of my life I lived like abroad, because I stayed in Vietnam for almost a year. I lived in the United States for like almost 2 months, in Morocco, and I was studying a lot in Germany while I was in school. So I had different experiences, you can say, all over the world probably. And at this point in my life, I really enjoy living in Russia, but at the same time, I feel like the atmosphere in here sometimes isn't right for me. And I like people who think or work or live their lives more like my friends. Like my friends are not a very good like example of typical
No, yeah, we are not typical Russians.
Russian people. So I would probably try and find a better place for me to live, but who knows? Maybe in 10 years, Moscow or St. Petersburg will be this place.
So
I
what?
agree.
I would like to travel more, that's for sure, but I'm not thinking about immigrating somewhere
And
right now.
I don't like winter.
Right.
Yeah, for me it's really a big problem.
Yeah.
I don't like live here like from October to March. It's really
And you
hard.
usually aren't here.
Yeah, we don't have any
Yeah.
sun here.
Yeah.
Like 6 months.
Yeah.
It is hard, but I like winter. I like winter sports, so I think I would.
You're not gonna run away from the winter, right?
I'm not against winter, so I'm not gonna run away somewhere where it's hot all the time. Like
Okay.
so. Yeah.
So you said that sometimes you think the atmosphere is not the best. What do you mean by atmosphere?
Like I mean that sometimes it is hard, at least for me, to find like-minded people.
Okay. So you mean like
there are
social
more of
atmosphere?
them. Yeah, there are more of them because I work in this, let's say, media industry. So there are a lot of people who still think like they're pro-American or pro-Western. So they're trying to implement more trends into Russian industry. So it's easier to find friends in there. But like other people who I know from St. Petersburg or like from my school, from the university, they're totally different. They even, for example, the kids situation that we were discussing on your Russian channel.
Like parenting, basically. Yeah.
Parenting, for example. A lot of my friends like from school, from university, are starting their families now. They're having their first children, and I get asked a lot of times like, when are you going to get married? When are you going to have your first child? And I can't say anything when people are asking me something like this, because I don't actually know. I have no, like, my life isn't planned like for the next 10 years. I'm not sure if I'm going to still live in Moscow or next year. So I can't properly say anything about like having kids or starting a family. And a lot of people by the age of 25 in Russia are expected to have a family.
So there's this pressure, yeah?
Yeah, there's definitely pressure to start a proper career or something like this. And I've been freelancing for how long? For 6 years already. I only worked for like a proper company, and I had my трудовая книжка for only 9 months.
That's like there's this labor book. These are all sort of like things left over from the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
the internal
definitely.
passports, and then there's another separate like passport-looking thing that has all of your work history in it.
Yeah.
I like how you called it passport-looking thing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
kind of. It's this little booklet where they write in that you worked here for this long, and then you like quit or you were fired, and then you started working here. or then
I
you
don't
served in the
have.
army? You don't have one?
I don't have.
So Kasim has never worked for anybody,
Yeah.
right? Because if you want to, you need to have that. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of pressure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it too.
So what do you think? Do you think that there could be something that would like put you over the edge where you would say, okay, that's enough. I don't want to stay here anymore. Could you imagine something like that?
I think that maybe some like strong political changes.
Yeah.
Like for example, we're getting news that our government is thinking about implementing some like internet closure thing or wherever to isolate Russia from other part of World Wide Web. So I'm not sure if something like this will be like implemented and added to our laws. So maybe I will start to think more properly about this St. John's master degree.
Yeah, sure.
But at this point in my life, like everything is great for me, and I feel like for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm going somewhere and I'm getting very well at self-development. I have my friends around me. I can travel. I can visit my family. So I feel like I'm adulting right now,
Cool,
like
sure.
properly adulting. Maybe not in a true Russian way, but still, I feel incredibly comfortable.
Awesome.
Like at this point of my life.
For me, it's really hard to speak with other Russian people because Russian people like close-minded. And it's really true, like you know
In general,
yeah,
right?
in general. Not my friends. I have great friends. Yeah, and here too.
Thank you.
But we have like not good atmosphere here in Russia, like racist atmosphere, homophobic atmosphere.
Yeah,
It's
true.
okay to be a racist here, and it's okay to be a homophobic.
A homophobe, yeah.
Yeah,
Or to
homophobe
be
here.
homophobic,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you're like how to say it?
If you're homophobic,
Homophobic.
you could say.
Yeah,
if you're
if you're like homophobic, it's okay. You can tell about it. Like for people,
You can
it's
even
okay.
be proud about it.
Yeah,
even like you can be
of
a politician.
course, in Moscow.
You can be a politician and
Not with our
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not okay with our friends, but in
So
like
you
in
still
Russia,
meet
in
people
Moscow,
like that in Moscow?
of
Yeah.
course,
Because I think
every
Moscow
day,
is very-
every day you can just
Yeah.
go. I don't know, just you can walk
Maybe I'm
around
just-
your
Neighborhood,
house.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, you
all-
and Uliana can hold hands, maybe. Or,
yeah.
Except that's sort of acceptable.
Yeah.
If Kasim and I walked around holding hands, maybe then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's okay. It's
So that's
okay
one-
in our country because the government like they okay with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So, what is that? Are you answering the question like what might put you over the edge, or what? Like you said, that's difficult. Are you saying that that's one of the things that's difficult for you living in Russia?
What
Is the atmosphere?
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
atmosphere here, and actually I don't. Oh my god, it's crazy, but I don't like people in Russia.
Okay.
I like my friends, but I don't like a lot of people here. It's not okay for me to live with them because I feel like I'm not like them all the time.
Yeah, but
I'm not like them. I like my friends. I like Moscow, but I feel uncomfortable with other
yeah, of
people.
course we're generalizing
Yeah,
at some
yeah.
point right now because there are a lot of great people in Russia.
Yeah, of
People
course, a
who like people who we probably don't know, but they're still like-minded.
Probably a lot of your subscribers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that you have
D-
YouTube
definitely.
channel,
So there are a lot of great people in Russia, but sometimes it is hard to find the right ones to communicate. Because if you want to live like happily ever after, you need to create your own small world
Yeah.
inside this like Moscow world that
Mhm.
is at some point like outside from the real Russia world.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's something
Like our world.
One thing that I just realized is that like here, like racist and homophobic people are sort of loud. Like
Yeah,
they say it out
definitely.
loud, and
Yeah.
like and like I said, even like some politicians have said very like
Yeah, they're
homophobic or racist
encouraged at
things.
some point.
But like for example, I'm from Canada. There are racist and homophobic people in Canada, but they're quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like they
Yeah, I know.
they're like
Like in
probably
the-
the minority,
in the
and they
United
don't
States.
talk about it. You know, like not in general, right? You don't go around saying those things. Yeah, so that's
And
that's
it's
a big
okay
difference.
actually. I don't care what do you think about it. Just
Yeah.
like
As long as you don't
yeah,
put pressure.
yeah. If it's only in your mind, okay, it's your life. Just do what you
Don't-
want to
don't
do.
say it out
Just
loud.
don't say it, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to say about this generalization because both of you guys, you have YouTube channels and you have lots of you receive lots of comments
Yeah.
from different people,
Yeah,
all
from
around
incredible
Russia.
people.
So
Yeah.
you can see how different they are, how different they are, how different they think, and sometimes you can feel it that they think so different from how you think, and
Yeah.
I think it makes you like you have bigger how to say.
But you know, they can comment, but in real life they don't speak about it.
Yeah,
It's a problem in Russia.
The cool people are still a little bit quiet.
Yeah.
You know, like currently in the United States, like the homophobic and racist people in there, they became like louder in the in the recent years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a big group of people who's against like their ideas.
And they're really vocal about that.
Yes, definitely. And in Russia, even if you're trying to be like proactive about something and implement something good into people's life, there are like the media representation or like governmental representation. They're still mostly like homophobic and racist
and sexist. We forget about it, like sexist people.
Yes,
sexist. Oh yes, very sexist.
So
Yes.
We are a very sexist country.
To be like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. I want to ask one last question on a positive note. What do you like about living in Russia? Because you guys both started by saying that you like it here and you're happy to be here.
Yeah, I don't like some people here, but I like people like you guys. You are not from Russia, you're from Canada, but I like people like Yeva and Uliana. Like my friends, they're awesome, and I like I can speak with my friends or with just people. I don't know, like maybe in clubs, like about everything, about my life, about my childhood, about my parents. We can speak like about everything. It's not like in Europe, I guess, or in Canada. Yeah. So if people I met you like the first time, I can speak with you about everything.
Okay.
It's okay in Russia.
So you feel like you can like open up more quickly?
Yeah.
With people? Cool. With people that are on the same wavelength as you, I guess. Yeah, sure.
and we like speak about problems. If you have problems, you can just speak about it.
Yeah.
But I thought it makes your life better, discussing problems and discussing the way how you can solve them.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes your life better.
So, but what makes you stay in Russia right now? Because we've talked about leaving and staying. What makes you stay now?
One thing that I definitely like about Russia, and it will probably add something to your first question about what has changed like in the recent years, is that Russia gives you a lot of different opportunities. Actually, it is easier here to start a business. Like if you really want to start something, if you really want to try something, you will definitely find the money or the people that can help you to start something.
Especially in Moscow,
yeah.
right?
Especially in Moscow.
Because from this huge country, everybody that wants to do something comes here.
Yeah.
Definitely. So there are a lot of different opportunities, and I think that you can find more and more every year. Especially like if you're in a big city in Russia, St. Petersburg, even like less bigger cities like Yekaterinburg are starting to be more proactive in this like development.
Sure, cool.
Because I travel a lot, like in the recent years I traveled a lot in Russia. I went to Krasnodar, Yekaterinburg. I even went to like a small city, even a small village in Tambovskaya region.
Okay.
Where people can rent a 3-bedroom apartment for 5,000 rubles a month.
That is like 80 American dollars right now, a month. Yeah.
And there are still people who want to do something great, and I like this atmosphere and like these new ideas that are starting to slowly develop in Russian brains.
Cool. Awesome. Do you have anything you want to add?
The same for me. Yeah. I like Moscow actually. Yeah, we have a lot of problems, but we change like all the time. And Moscow 5 years ago, it's not like Moscow now. It's totally different.
What is it that you like about Moscow?
Modern people.
Okay.
Yeah.
The people that are like you, right?
like my friends. I don't want like speak about me. Like people like me, like my friends.
Right.
I
can say
hope,
that.
Yeah. Okay. We have a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, the
like
whole
coffee
like
shops.
city environment is developing really fast. Like new parks, new
a
like
lot
tourist
of cool
attractions.
Parks. Yeah, and everything like clean.
Yeah.
Like I don't know,
Moscow,
not like in Europe, because
Yeah.
I like travel. I travel a lot, and Moscow very clean.
There are a lot of things to see and to do, like even during the cold, grey winter time.
Yeah. And we have a lot of theaters.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah, there's so
every
much to
country,
do here. I
like
can
ballet. How to say
Ballet.
ballet.
Yeah, ballet.
Ballet and
Yeah, I can confirm that. This week, Eva and I went to a concert on Wednesday, and on Thursday we went to like a play circus thing, and yeah, there's like every day there's stuff to do here for sure. Yeah.
And because if I want to move like to another country, it would be only like Paris, London, New York, because it's similar with Moscow. Because we have a lot of like
the same
everything
like
here.
speed of life, if you can say like this.
Yeah, pace.
Like, yeah,
But
definitely.
And museums.
at the same time, it's much cheaper here.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's cheaper.
We should
Yeah,
say.
it's way cheaper.
I think it's a big plus.
It's-
Even in Moscow, I want to say about houses, apartments, in how do you call it?
Rent
Rent, yeah.
or real estate?
Real estate, but for example, food, restaurants, entertainment, ballet,
it's very
theaters.
cheap.
Yeah, but
Concerts.
even rent is way cheaper than the cities that
No,
Kasim
yeah,
just
but-
said.
yeah,
Paris or New York.
But yeah, but for us it's not cheap actually.
Yeah, it's true.
For example, in Moscow, in the center of the city, you can rent maybe not very big apartment
Like a
for
studio or something?
for $1,000
US dollars, yeah,
US
yeah.
dollars. And maybe it's okay for you, like if you live in Canada or in the United States, but for us in Russia, it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
really a lot.
Like with this exchange rate, when some people were earning about like $2,000-3,000 a month, like everything dropped.
So what you just said, $1,000 is like 65,000 rubles, which is actually a lot of money because just 6 years ago, 65,000 rubles was $2,000. So people had like a lot of more money, like if they traveled to
Yeah.
another place.
Yeah.
So salaries have not gone up at
No,
all,
it's
basically.
changed.
A little bit, maybe,
Yeah.
salaries. But a lot of things like imported things, especially like electronics and food, the prices have just gone way up in rubles. So that's tough. But still, when you're making money on YouTube and your income won't change if you're in London or in Moscow, then definitely cheaper in Moscow.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that we had this conversation. If you have any more questions about Russia, like we're living in Russia at the moment, so we can talk to people like these lovely friends of ours, or go out and film things outside. So let us know if you have any ideas or questions. Write those in the comments. We'll have links to Kasim and Liana's channels. They're all in Russian, but you can take a look. And if you do speak Russian, of course, go and subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, press that bell so you get notifications, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.